Hello, future millionaires, and welcome back to my channel. I am Kayla.K.Keane, and welcome to another of my live streams. And today we'll be talking about 7 things that you definitely need to know before you consider buying a house in Jamaica. Thank you for all my returning viewers who are here with me. And for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. Remember to tell me if you are new in the comment section so that I can give you a big welcome. All right? So as I said before, today I'll be talking about 7 things that you definitely need to know and remember prior to purchasing a property in Jamaica. I see that you guys were here early and you have already started a conversation. So let me see if I can keep up. David Gooden said, hey. Autumn Rain said, good evening, everyone. Sash Molo says, present teacher and classmate. Timoy O'Brien said, good evening, hosts and subscribers. How are you all doing? Sasha is telling Timoy hi. Marlene Thompson is also here and she says, good evening, Kayla. Autumn Rain is saying hi to Sash Molo and Timoy. Everybody is saying hi to one another. Timoy says, hey Molo, how are you doing? David Gooden says, good evening, my people. Sasha says, I'm blessed, waiting for class to start. Timoy says, me too. They're laughing. Sasha says, the party was lit. Teacher looked like she gone. Staff meeting. Time to play music. Yes. I see you guys are having a jolly good time in the comment section. I love that. So Autumn Rain is here. Hey Autumn Rain, hi Timoy, Sasha, David, Marlene. Thank you all for coming out early. So we don't want to waste any time, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get the conversation started so that we can get class off the ground. All right, so one of the first things that we want to think about when we are purchasing a property is, of course, the cost. So while this is not the most important thing, it is one of the things that is very important to think about when you're purchasing a property, because of course, whether you like it or not, if you don't have any money, you can't purchase a property. True or false? You have to have money to start the process. So the first of the 7 things that you need to know prior to purchasing a property in Jamaica is what you can afford. So what do I mean by what you can afford? So I'm not talking about speculating now or sitting and coming up with a figure that seems comfortable to you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about actually doing the groundwork to find out what you can afford in the most technical sense. So that means if you're going to use the NHT, then you're going to go to them to get your pre-qualification, which tells you how much you pre-qualify for. And then you're also going to go to your financial institution to find out that same information from them so that you can know if it is that you're going to be able to afford the property that you originally wanted, right? So this is very important because you don't want to be looking at properties that you can't actually afford, and then when you finally decide that this is the one I want to go with, you find out that you cannot afford it, right? So you want to be very sure about asking yourself that question. And the question is, what can I afford? So when you get your pre-approval letter from the NHT and you compare that with what the bank is offering you, then you'll be able to find out what you can actually afford and make a decision based on that. So you may dream of living in a very specific type of house, in a very specific community, but it's important to know what is the reality versus what you are feeling, right? So you might want to live in Cherry Gardens, but you can't live in Cherry Gardens on a Kingston 2 budget. You have to be able to afford it. So affordability is number one. So be open-minded and open. That when you're open-minded, it opens your search basically, because now you'll not be looking at things that you can't afford, but you'll be looking at things with a more informed view, so you know what you can actually afford. All right, the second thing that you want to think about is real estate value, right? So for those of you who are just joining, the first thing that you need to think about when purchasing real estate or trying to purchase real estate in Jamaica is what you can afford. The second thing that you need to look at is real estate value. So don't just buy a house anywhere because it's available. Seek advice from a realtor or a realtor associate on the possibility of the property value increasing or decreasing, right? So if you buy a property in a flood prone area, for example, or if you buy a property in an area that is prone to a lot of violence, then you know that over time that property value will decrease. However, if you buy a property in an area that's not so buzzy now, but say we have a lot of businesses going up close by, or a new hospital is fairly close by, we have new schools, the road is being developed, then you know that the possibility lies that the property value might also increase. So it's very important to consider these things when you are buying a property. So number one was affordability, of course, and number two is real estate value. Let me see what Autumn is saying. Autumn is saying, or the general market, Kayla. Definitely. So for example, now we are having a seller's market, so we need to consider all of these facts before we go and throw our money at a property, because you don't want to buy and then have regrets after. So you want to be very careful about these things, right? So owing to the fact that many first-time owners eventually resell their properties, you need to know all of this and get the expert opinion before you make a decision, because in the long run this could actually save you some money and time too. So you want to be able to be sure about these things before you make a purchase. The third thing that you want to look at is security. So don't just buy because it's fairly affordable. Think about the security for not only you but your family. So you don't want to live in an area where once it's 10 o'clock, you know you can't go home. You'll have to stay at a friend's house, because what's the point of having a house if you can't enjoy it? So some of the time, that's why I always tell people, you might be in a position now where you are renting, right? And you might think that is the worst thing ever for whatever reason. But I just want to tell you that renting is not always a bad thing. And in my opinion, it's better to rent until you're ready for home ownership than just to go ahead and buy a property just to say that you own a house, for example, but you're very uncomfortable because of different situations that you might not have considered before purchasing. So that's why it's important for us to talk about it, so that whatever decisions that you end up making in the long run, it can be very informed and you don't end up regretting. Because of course, purchasing a property is one of the biggest things that you'll do with your life or in your life, and you don't want to make a mistake, right? So you want to be very careful about what you are doing and the purchase that you're about to make, and ensure that the purchase is informed and that you're not just running ahead because you really want to own real estate. So you're just running ahead, and whatever comes along, you just make the purchase because you want to own a property. That's really not what we're about. You want to make informed decisions that you won't end up regretting, and I'm sure we can all agree with that, don't it? All right, so the fourth thing that you want to look at, and I've said this several times and I'll say it again and again and again until everybody remember, location is very important when you are thinking about buying a property. So this is number 4. So think about all the possible things that could go wrong if you choose the wrong location. So you need to think about location for a couple reasons. For example, if you live and work, if you live in Kingston, right? And currently it's a 10 minutes commute to and from your workplace. If you go ahead and purchase a property all the way out in Manchester, if you plan to live at that property, I can assure you that sooner or later, unless you are working from home most of the time, you will probably regret making that purchase. Because who wants to drive from Manchester to Kingston on a daily basis to work? Nobody really wants to do that. Well, I don't think I'd want to do that. Would you want to do that? I doubt that. So I think it's very important for you to think about the location of the property before you go ahead and purchase a house, because I really feel like if you don't think about that, it's going to be something that you could possibly regret, right? So I wouldn't want to do that. I don't think you'd want to do that either. So I think that's something you should think about before. So Timoy is saying he would not want to do that either. I see Garth is joining, Garth Dwyer over there in Toronto, Canada. He says, hello guys, good evening all. Toronto crew in Toronto. Welcome back, Kayla. We missed your program. Awesome sauce, Garth. Thanks for joining. I was here last week. I was back from last week, so you missed last week, but I see you're here now, so welcome. Dwayne is here. He says good evening. Hi Dwayne, thanks for coming as always. Right, so we want to be thinking about the location that we're purchasing the property in, because at the end of the day, as I said before, you don't want to make a purchase and then as soon as you make the purchase, you are already regretting it, and that actually happens to a lot of people. So another thing to consider, and this is number 5 of 7, is the type of property that you desire. So some persons like apartment for whatever reasons. Some persons like myself prefer houses, probably because I grew up in the country. I lived in the country before, in the rural areas. For those of you who are not Jamaican, when we refer to country, that's what we're talking about. So I lived in rural Jamaica, and I prefer that type of lifestyle where, you know, you have the big yard space, you have the big backyard, the nice comfortable tree that you can go sit under outside. I like that. So for me, that would be preferred to an apartment. But there are some people who want to have the security guard at their gate. They want to have a remote control gate. They want to have somebody who is in charge of taking care of the lawn. They don't want the hassle of dealing with that, because you know, when you buy a house, all of the maintenance is on you. But when you buy an apartment, then persons are there who do the maintenance, so they will take care of that part of it for you, and you won't have that hassle. So you have to think about all these things prior to making a purchase, because you don't want to make a purchase, you don't want to buy a house and then you say, Lord God, so it's me have to water the grass now, so I'm going to have to repaint the property. You don't want to do that. So you want to make that decision ahead of time. So if it is not something that you're interested in doing, then you can make an informed decision from early, as opposed to you buy a house and then you sit there and you're not comfortable because you didn't think about these things ahead of time, right? So these are things that you definitely want to think about. What kind of properties is that you're looking for, so that you can make an informed decision. So apart from the apartment and the yard, the regular house that has space and a backyard and all of that, you know, there are other types of properties like schemes, townhouse, duplex, you know, single unit stratas. So you want to think about all of that. Earth Strong says those apartment amenities come at a cost in addition to the monthly mortgage. Don't forget. Oh, definitely. So it's either you're going to buy a house and you're going to do the maintenance yourself, or you're going to buy an apartment and you're going to pay for maintenance. And stratas also work that way too, where you pay the maintenance fee on a monthly basis, and somebody takes care of all the things that you don't want to take care of. So if you don't want to do it yourself, you definitely have to pay. So the sixth thing that I want to remind you about is, of course, the process, right? Just like any other goal, home ownership is a process. So you must be smart about it. And I've told you about the acronym SMART before, which is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So you want to think about your home ownership goal in a smart way. So you have to be specific. What kind of property is it that you're looking for? What's your budget? Those things must be specific if you want to be successful in your bid to own a property, right? So I see somebody is just joining. So I was just saying that you have to remember that home ownership is a process and you have to be smart about it. Somebody's saying hi my baby girl queen K. Definitely not. Gas price turn up, mama. I guess that person was referring to the Manchester question, right? So you definitely have to be smart about your goal. So the specific goal would be what type of house you want to own and what's your budget, right? So those are very specific. So measurable now. As it relates to measurable goals, you want to be sure that you are able to measure your goal. And in terms of home ownership, that would look at things like time period. So I want to own a house that costs X amount of money. What time period am I looking at doing this in? Because sometimes people get up all the time and comment and tell me in the comment section if it's lie. I tell you, sometimes some people just get up out of the blues and determine that they want to take over the world. And home ownership is one of those things. You can't just get up out of the blues and determine that, all right, then I'm going to own a home that is for $20 million and I'm doing it now, but you don't have any saving, right? That's not going to work out in your favor. You have to plan properly, prepare for it, and then you execute like a boss, right? So that takes me to the A in SMART, which is attainable. So stop setting goals, guys, that are not attainable. You want to ensure that your goal is attainable. And how do you do this? You follow the steps that I told you before. So you ensure that first of all you have enough money to purchase the property that you want to purchase, or your 10% deposit that you will have to have, your closing costs that you'll have to have that the bank won't be giving you, right? So that is how you ensure that your goal is attainable. So that takes us to the R in SMART, which is for realistic. So is it realistic that you're going to own your first home by age 21 when you're not even working? No, it's not realistic. So if that is your goal, you need to ensure that you have a proper plan. I see mommy saying it's Donna, K. Okay. All right. Yes. So that's mommy. Hi, mommy. Thanks for joining. Right. So you want to ensure that you know what you are doing. So the T now is for time bound. So you ensure that you put it within a certain time frame. So for example, you might be on here, you might want to own a home before you are 40, or you might want to own your first home before you are 50, or you might want to own your first home before you are 30, or before your first child turns 10, or whatever the case may be. So you put a time to it, which makes you work harder, right? And as I always said, there are several cost factors associated with purchasing property. The 6 major ones are, of course, the agreement on the sale, the stamp duty, transfer tax, registration, the agent/realtor fee if you're using a realtor. Remember, that's not a must. You can look for a property on the open market by yourself. You don't necessarily have to use a realtor to purchase a property. And the 6th cost is the lawyer fee, and I would advise everyone that is buying a home in Jamaica, whether you live here or you live abroad, you need an attorney. So remember, the cost for the attorney is not included in the closing costs and all of that. So none of the money for the house, the attorney fee is not included in that. So you need to have extra money on hand that you can use to offset the additional costs that you will incur when you buy that property. So the final thing that you need to consider is your payment option. So basically you can use cash, or you can choose to go the mortgage route. If you are the lucky one and you have enough cash, then you can use cash to make the purchase. But remember, consider using these guidelines. If you think it's necessary, you need to get a realtor or a realtor agent. Get an attorney who practices conveyancing, not any old attorney. I see somebody asking a question. Ashanti Wheeler, what are the benefits of using a realtor? All right, Ashanti is asking what are the benefits of using a realtor. Autumn Rain says, Ashanti, please use a realtor. Kayla will answer. Right, Ashanti. So obviously, in every era of life, you have persons who are trained to do something, right? So if you are sick, you would go to the doctor. You wouldn't go to the pharmacist yet. You would probably go to the doctor for a diagnosis. You can go to the pharmacist because they will be able to assist. However, the doctor is the trained professional as it relates to diagnosing a condition. So for example, you're coughing, you might go to the pharmacist and the pharmacist say, all right, I'll give you some drugs that stop the coughing. But if you went to the doctor, then they'll be able to tell you that you have pneumonia, you have bronchitis, you have COVID, you have whatever. The pharmacist would be only treating the symptoms, right? So similar to the housing sector, realtors are the professional in everything having to do with houses. So it's good to use a realtor because they are the trained professional, so they know about properties, they know the ins and the outs, they know the good and the bad about the different listing that they will have, the different properties that they'll have as a part of their listing. So they'll be able to guide you based on your budget, based on what you're looking for, and basically find the best suiting property for you. However, I know that some persons literally, genuinely cannot afford to have a realtor because of course they're not going to work for free. So if you can't afford it, then you just can't afford it. But if you can afford it, it's a good thing to use a realtor because they're the professionals, they're trained, and they will help you to find the best buy. So instead of wasting your money and finding the property, instead of wasting time rather and trying to find the property on your own, they of course have a listing they can walk you through. You tell them what you want and they basically find it for you. So I think it's good to have a realtor. Those are some of the benefits. And then for example, say there are two properties in a community that you are interested in buying a property in, but you are looking by yourself. So you might find one that is not as nice as the other property, or it might cost a little more but it's worth less, or you could get better value for money. The realtor will be able to tell you all of those things and help you. Plus there are contractual agreements that you'll have to enter into. The realtor is good at walking you through that. They are like a link, a bridge between you and the property, so they'll be able to help you to find a good attorney. They'll help you to find good contracts. They'll just be able to help you to ease you through the process and ease the load. Let me see what Autumn Rain is saying. She said, and seller's agent is working for the seller, not you. Definitely. Autumn Rain says you need someone knowledgeable to negotiate on your behalf and catch any problems with the contract or the property, right? And Ashanti, in case you don't know, Autumn Rain is actually a realtor, so she's telling you from first-hand experience. She's a realtor in Maryland. So if anybody on here wants a property in Maryland, then you can talk to Autumn Rain. I can link you with her so that you're able to make that purchase through her, and she'll be able to guide you through the process and make it a little easier for you. So right, we were talking about payment options. So I said that you need to definitely get an attorney who practices conveyancing and is seasoned and knows what they're doing, so they don't mess up your paperwork and delay your purchase. Get a letter from your financial institution that tells you, of course, how much you'll be able to qualify for. You need your valuator costs, especially hold on, let me see. Or Earth Strong is saying, I wish Autumn Rain was in Florida. Ashanti says figure because she's defending her profession. Think you easy, Ashanti. All right, so you will need to have your 10% deposit ready, guys. Money we are talking about cash. This is not a loan. You're not getting this as a loan. Think about this cash, right? Cash. You need to have your 10% cash. So if you're looking to buy a property in, for example, the next 1 year, and you're looking to buy a property for 10 million, you know that you need to have $1 million put on cash, so that when the property comes around, you're able to pay your 10% deposit plus your lawyer fee and all these other fees that I just mentioned. So if you're looking into getting a property, it's a good time for you to start saving now, and I'm sure Autumn Rain would agree on this, because remember, when persons are selling properties, especially now when we're in a seller's market, if it is a case that you don't have the money that you need to have to make your down payment and somebody else has the money, obviously nobody is going to wait on you unless it's a friend, or you just found some favor and God just having mercy on you. But let's be smart. Don't just wait for somebody to feel sorry for you. Instead, save up your deposit so that when the time comes, you're able to make that purchase. By the way, guys, for those of you who missed the VIP event that I sent an email inviting you to last week Friday, I just want to tell you it was lit for those of us who attended. Yes, I just had to tell you just in case you missed it. I don't know if I'll upload a little piece of it. Maybe not. You should come when you're invited, okay? All right, so make sure that you have your driver's license or some form of identification ready. If you're looking to purchase a house, your TRN must be ready. Your job letter, last 3-month pay slips. Those are the things that you'll need to get the documentation from the financial institution. Ensure that if you're self-employed, for the persons who are self-employed, I see somebody saying hi. Hi, Tanya. Is it your first time here? Right. If you're self-employed, you need to practice routing money through your bank account, right? So nobody's going to lend you money if they don't think you already are financially stable and you can afford the loan, for example, a mortgage loan. So if you're self-employed, you need to consider routing money through the bank account, a particular bank account, on a monthly basis, so that when you're ready to purchase a property, they can know that you have enough money to make this purchase. So for example, hairdressers, nail technicians, persons who work for themselves, barbers, try as best as possible to, on a monthly basis, for example, you get paid, maybe you get paid cash. So put a sum of money together. Say if you're going to save $50,000 and put it into your bank account, so that when you're ready to get your mortgage, the bank statement can show that you've had money routed through your bank account for at least the last 12 months. All right. So if you have loans and other expenses, you want to try and close those out as soon as possible and clear up your pay stub as much as possible. So remember that a mortgage can sometimes take up to 40% of your salary. So you want to be able to show that you won't be living off air once you start to pay that mortgage. You have to convince the bank of this. So try to close your loans if you have loans. And remember that this is a long distance race, guys. It's not a sprint. Sometimes you might want to own a house really quickly and things just not working out that way. You're searching for a property, you're searching, you can't find a property. Don't get discouraged. Just keep looking and keep saving. Take it as an opportunity to save some more money, so by the time you find something, you'll be able to afford an even more expensive property and a better property because you take the time to save. It's really hard to just sit down and save money and say, oh yes, one day a property will pop up. But remember, if you don't have your down payment, you won't be able to get the property when the time is right. So you have to be disciplined about it and try as best as possible to stick to the saving routine and try to save, right? So you need to have your 10% deposit, definitely. And it's important whether you're making the purchase cash or you're using a mortgage, you have to pay the closing cost. Okay, the closing cost has to be paid for the sale itself to be completed. Autumn Rain, can you tell me in the comment section if you guys pay closing costs in the US too, or it's just a Jamaican thing? So remember, there are other legal fees. You have to pay your realtor, you have to pay your mortgage commitment fee, stamp duty, transfer tax, registration fee, the sale agreement, letters of possession, all of that. So you need to be saving up. Autumn Rain says, oh, it's easier to purchase in the US than Jamaica. Yeah, I remember you were saying that the cost, all of the costs that we have, the additional costs, you guys don't have that. You just pay that one cost and then that's it. Autumn Rain is saying you can purchase with very little money in hand due to grants. Oh, that's awesome. I wish we had that here. We do, but it can be reduced by a lot due to the grants available. That's something that Jamaica needs to consider. We need some of these grants too. So for those of you who are late, I spoke about 7 things that you definitely need to know before you purchase a property or attempt to purchase a property in Jamaica. And the first one was your affordability, what you're able to afford. Earth Strong says in some cases you can ask the seller to cover the closing costs. Well, I think you're referring to in the US, Autumn Rain, or you're referring to Jamaica? Because I've never seen that here. Alright, so first you need to think about what you can afford, especially now, Earth Strong, that we're in a seller's market, so people really want properties to buy. So now it's like a dog eat dog thing. So it's the person with the most money that's going to get that property, she says in the US. And says Jamaica is very hard to earn a house. You need up to 20% of the cost to purchase a house, basically. And because remember that all of these additional costs that I just spoke about, like the transfer tax, stamp duty, attorney fee, in the US I know you can easily purchase a property without a lawyer. It's not a must, but in Jamaica, because of how things are, it is highly recommended. So definitely you need about 20% of the cost to be able to purchase a property. It's kind of hard to own a house here. Autumn Rain says agree, Earth Strong, but not now, LOL. Oh, because of the seller's market. Yes, so firstly you need to think about what you can afford. Secondly, you need to think about real estate value. So when you're buying a house, always look at the value. There's no sense in buying a property for $50 million that you cannot sell back for $50 million. So you have to look at the real estate value. Look at security. Is it a safe area? That's very important. You have to look at the location. You don't just want to live any and anywhere. No, you have to think about where you are purchasing the property, and if it is that you'll be comfortable for years to come in that community. You want to think about the type of property that you want, whether it's an apartment, a house, housing scheme, strata, whatever property you prefer. You want to think about the process also, and you want to be smart about it. So we said earlier that smart is an adjective an abbreviation rather for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. You want to ensure that the goal that you're setting is SMART. So your goal cannot be, okay, I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to purchase a house when you have no money. That's not a very smart goal. So you want to look at it, take it in stages, and let's do it together as a family. That's why you're here, that's why you subscribed, and we're going to work through this together. And the final point was the payment options. It's very important that you know that whether you're using cash or a mortgage to purchase your property, a mortgage loan, you're going to have your 10% closing costs to make that purchase, right? So you want to ensure that you are saving up. I see a lot of comments going up the screen, so let me stop a minute and look. Autumn Rain says the title company does the job, the lawyer would. That's in the state. Some states actually require a lawyer though. Okay. And says the more you save for deposit and closing costs, the more house price going up. Amen, sister. That is so true. But we cannot be daunted. If it is something that you really want, you definitely have to go for it. And as I always say, remember that there are many options to owning a house. Everybody will not buy a house on the open market. Everybody will not get an NHT scheme property. Everybody will not own a townhouse. Not everyone is able to buy an apartment. So what you have to do is to weigh your options. So if you have to buy a piece of land and then build, then that's going to be it. But do not give up on the possibility of owning a property, because it's one of the biggest achievements that you can have. And why wouldn't you want to own a house if you can? So don't be daunted. Autumn Rain says, and it seems like all of the odds are against us. Shake my head. Yes. Kevar Telfo says hi. Hi Kevar. Is it your first time here? Your name looks new. Guys, tell Kevar hello in the comment section and give him a big welcome. You know how we do it on this channel. If there's anyone here that is new also, go ahead and tell me in the comment section so that I can give you a big welcome. I want to start streaming live using another software, guys, that allows you to join by video. If you would be interested in joining me by video to ask your questions or just to say hello, let me know in the comment section so I can know if it is something I need to start doing, okay? Earth Strong says, welcome, Kevar. David Goodness says, hello, welcome. Welcome to the Future Millionaires family, says Timoy, and says, do you see housing price dropping anytime soon? I think some of these houses are overpriced. Yes, and some of the houses are definitely overpriced. But just like they taught us in business, supply and demand, once demand goes up and the supply is limited, then the costs will definitely rise. So I do think that houses are overpriced, and it's because a lot of people want to own homes, so the sellers can afford to push up the price for properties. Do I think the cost for houses will go down anytime soon? I doubt that, but I think when we go into a recession, which will happen sometime in the future, then that's probably the time when house prices will go down a little. That's my speculation. So let's see what will really happen. Natisha is here. Hello, Natisha. She says, welcome, Kavar. Kevar says, no, it's not my first time. Okay, well, it's my first time seeing you, so welcome. And he says, thanks. Autumn Rain says, welcome, Kevar, and all new future millionaires. Right, guys, so those are 7 things that you need to consider before you purchase a property in Jamaica. Remember that I upload videos on Friday at 3 p.m. and I go live on Sundays at 6 p.m. So remember to subscribe if you're watching but you have not subscribed. Remember to like the video. Remember to share it with a friend so that they can enjoy the content that I create, and tell somebody about it by simply sending the channel link to them, posting it on your WhatsApp status, maybe Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever it is. Just share the channel and like the videos. Thank you guys so much for your support. I see somebody commenting, Ariel the Realtor. Ariel is a really nice realtor, guys. If you're looking for a house to purchase in Jamaica, I can definitely put you on to Ariel. He also has a YouTube channel, so you can subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's saying Not seeing an indication that prices will be trending down in the short term, as you said, supply and demand. Definitely, Ariel. So he concurs with me. Nombre says, "Me late?" question mark. LOL. Yes, Nombre, you are definitely late. Thank you guys so much for watching. As I said before, remember to like the video, share it with a friend, leave a comment, subscribe. After the video posts to the channel, you can go ahead and leave your comments or questions also. So I'll upload a video on Friday at 3 p.m. and I go live again on Sunday at 6 p.m. Thank you so much for watching. And future millionaires, remember to stay financially literate as we work on our goal of home ownership together. Thank you so much for watching and have a great evening, afternoon, or night, whatever time you end up watching this video. All the best and bye-bye.